Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am filming a full training session which I did with two prodigies that are young Cameroonian discus throwers and myself. I am leading them through my prehab session so they can see what it's like in a day in my life. So we're starting off with these hip rotations, and I am having them put a lot of emphasis in having their foot in dorsiflexion, as well as making a full rotation, knee all the way to the elbow, and pushing that leg all the way straight back and through. So we did this 3 by 15 times going forward and immediately reversed afterwards, which gave a whole different challenge as well. And there's a special emphasis on putting that foot in dorsiflexion as it correlates directly to when we're in the circle. Yeah, there's a direct correlation with the dorsiflexion of your foot and when that foot pushes back. That, I imagine it when I'm doing this exercise as the ground contact that I make as my last step in the discus throw. So you have a hip rotation as you're rotating, and then you put that left foot down if you're right-handed. You put that left foot down, and then you're able to block it and then execute the rest of your throw by turning all the way through with your right foot and your right hip in order to get you maximal rotation in your throw. So these are extremely important for hip health, hip mobility, back health, back mobility, and your core as well. I typically don't do a lot of crunches or anything like that, and these hip circles are honestly more than enough to feel your abs engaged as well as your glutes at the same time. So next we have a kettlebell swing series, and this part is just a very simple movement, and I want to emphasize moving from my foot just like I do in the entry of my throw. So I think of the entry of my throw as a swivel with the feet more than a push and a lean over, because you don't want to lose your posture at any point in the throw. So when we're doing the kettlebell swings, we're also maintaining good posture and just emulating, what that feeling would be like with the discus in hand, but instead we have a 8-kilo kettlebell. So with the kettlebell swings going straight up, I have them and also myself putting emphasis on pushing the entire foot down into the ground. The more stable your feet can be, the more balance you can have and the more power you can then create from the ground going up. So I have them really focus on not moving their toes at all, and instead moving that power directly from the feet, going straight up into the implement in hand, which is the kettlebell. So it's a very forceful, aggressive movement going straight up and straight down with the hip hinge, of course. And immediately after the direct up and down swings with double hands, we switched and we alternated hands, also going through the same path in through the legs and up, and then switched it over to doing it on the outside of our legs, which also feels like the ending of a throw, power throw kind of position. And then we moved on to a more challenging version of this, which is a single leg. It's almost a bird dog. It's almost a standing bird dog, but you have that weight pulling you backwards, and you really have to do a lot of work with your balance to stabilize yourself and bring the kettlebell back to center and stay on one foot. So that's about 50 repetitions of kettlebell swings, and then we move on to the next exercise. So now the next exercise is engaging that glute medius and where that glute medius connects to your erector spinae, and this is the part of the throw, like the ending of the throw. Honestly, this movement has helped me stabilize myself again. Some of you guys know I had a psoas injury, which was very difficult to come back from. So with that psoas injury that I had, these have been very important to stabilize the opposite and equal side. So it's a very light band, extremely light loop band, and while maintaining the posture, you just give a tiny push back, which is going to be just like the ending of that throw. I'm here training with two Cameroonian rising stars. The one in all black is named Yerida, and the one in the pink is named Vivian. So Yeti and Viv are here training with me, and I'm having them really emphasize their posture. Standing up straight in this movement is going to help them find their balance in the throw, and I feel like that's what most young throwers struggle the most with, is actually just having pure balance, standing on one leg. Here we're doing a balance movement while strengthening specific parts of the body. So this past weekend we had the Grand Prix in Cameroon where Yeti competed, and I noticed that in her throw, after she gets off of her left foot and into the middle, there's really no balance in that block foot when the left foot touches down. It's still sliding and shifting, so she really needs to be able to strengthen that back part, that backside posterior chain, in order to plant her foot and then stabilize it at the end. So these will definitely be very helpful for her. And as we're doing the movement, she says she feels the burn a lot, so I know the muscles are working as well. Okay, the next movement series is called the Leaning Tower Fall series, which is various movements with our arms and legs, all while maintaining our posture, leaning and catching ourselves with a good braced core. So the first one is very simple. The body literally falls over like a tower would fall, and then you catch yourself with your arms in a plank position. And you feel this in your posterior chain as well as in your core as well. And then the next one, you simply raise up your right leg and hold it for 20 seconds, keeping the foot in dorsiflexion, keeping the knee up as high as you can, and trying as best as you can to lock out that leg that is planted on the ground as well. And this is also similar to the entry of the throw as well. And then we switch sides, hold that again for 20 seconds, and then go into raising and dropping back with that right leg. And this is actually a running hack. If you want to get better at your running posture, your running position, do a bunch of these for about a week and then go start sprinting, and watch how your technique evolves. At least for me, in my own experience, mine has evolved a lot just by doing these. After alternating legs, now we're going to do it in another variation, which is going to be the right arm up and the left leg up. So as that left arm touches the wall, the right knee is getting to its highest position as well, and the right elbow is coming back just as you would in perfect running position. We're being intentional with our movements here. Even though we're not sprinters, it still correlates in our event as well. So we did 10 on each of them, and then at the very end we did 20 repetitions as fast as we could, just alternating, switching our feet and trying to maintain that posture. Again, putting the primary exercise into practice. We did 2 series of those and then went inside to finish off the rest of the prehab session. Okay, inside now we're doing a broomstick up step, not a step up, but an up step, and focusing on our posture, again, always on the posture, and the way that the foot actually contacts the box. So as if I was in the ring in my throwing shoes, I want to contact that floor as much as I can. I don't want to be on my tiptoes too much. I want full contact so I can actually use the floor to help me push up. And also, the most elite throwers, I've noticed that as their foot touches down, the disc is actually in its highest position. So we're trying to replicate that a little bit in the gym by getting the bar, or for this case, the wooden stick, at its highest position as we make contact with the ground or with the box. I had to pause a little bit and make the girls a little bit more aware of their movement, especially on the forward motion. Instead of leaning over, falling, and then continuously moving your body, you want to get to a position with your body where you can actually freeze and maintain the position. This will allow us to pivot better and actually spin on our axis after getting that balance with the ground contact as well. So these are very important. Everything looks super easy. It is kind of easy. You just have to be intentional with the movement for it to help you with the throw later on. All right, now onto the plank series, which is actually one of my favorite ones. This one is very similar to what the arms are supposed to do at the end of the throw. So that left arm should be stabilizing you a little bit while the right arm is doing some type of work. So this is very similar to that in a plank position. So that left leg is down, or the right leg, whichever side you're on, is down, and you have to isometrically contract and maintain that contraction the whole way through. The first 5 repetitions I do with my legs closed, and then the last 5 of the 10 repetitions I do it with my legs separated, and that is a completely different challenge. So we each did 3 sets of 10 on these and just corrected each other's posture before moving on to our last exercise, which was a bird dog again, or maintaining a bird dog position while pulling a kettlebell and holding on to a resistance band as well. So the challenge here that I find is actually keeping that foot that's on the bench, keeping it down and stable and not wobbling. So the feet should be stable. The feet should both be in dorsiflexion. The hips should be balanced, tabletop position. So you're trying to engage the movement from your lats and just roll your arm upwards, get the elbow back behind you, and drop it back down while still maintaining that core posture. This one is probably the hardest core exercise inside of the gym, to be honest. It's a complete challenge, but I do think that this has helped me with my back health, my psoas health as well. If I find a clip in here of the first time I did it, you can see the difference of how I was struggling when I did this a month ago versus when I'm doing it today, June 3rd. I had the girls doing 6 to 8 reps, and then I moved up on the weight and also did 6 to 8 reps. I think I did 10 reps on this last one here just because I'm already used to the movement. But it's still a challenge. No matter how many times you do this movement, it's still a challenge. You get better at it, but it's still going to be a challenge. As you can see here, I always try to lock in my position before I start the movement. So that's both feet in dorsiflexion, actually applying pressure onto that bench with my right foot and just locking in that posture. The only thing that should really be moving is the arm, but that takes so much core strength, stability, and focus as well. As you can see, Viv has a little bit of movement with her left leg through her hip, so I'm just correcting her form and helping her stabilize and actually understand where she should brace and where she should lock in her core position at, because sometimes we don't know. It's always helpful to know where your base is or where it should be, especially because you can't see yourself. You're relying on your feeling. So after finishing up with the prehab session, I put on my throwing shoes and did some drills, mainly because I do not have access to throw here in Cameroon, which is very unfortunate because I love being in Cameroon, but I don't have access to a proper training facility where I can throw my discus onto grass and not potentially break my discus. So yeah, I'm doing my stuff in the gym, and for the time being it's satisfactory, but I'm only here for a few days, so for the time being this will just have to suffice. So the first drill I'm doing are 360 drills, which is basically a pirouette, a ballet pirouette, where you turn on one foot while stabilizing your core. So I put the Swiss ball in Viv's hands because she was just struggling with the connection between her feet and her upper body as well. So she was opening up her arms way too fast, and her lower body was kind of dragging behind her. So I gave her the med ball so that it can kind of stay connected and she can keep her chin in line with her chest and her arms in line with the rest of her body as well. And it actually was beneficial and helpful. And just as we have been doing the whole entire way through, the prehab, the warm-up, everything has been about posture. So as soon as you start, doing discus drills, you should also kind of focus on the posture as well. So that's it for prehab and the drill session. It ended up being a very great day. I'm very thankful that the girls came and joined along and kind of had their first taste of what it's like to do a prehab session with me. So I'm glad I could give them and share my knowledge with them. And of course, when one teaches, two learn. So I also learned from them as well. So I'm thankful to have the company and training partners for today. Yeah, that's about it for my morning session this morning. I finished off with some drills, and of course, since I am actually not able to throw, I ran some errands, got my hair retwisted like I normally do when I come to Cameroon. And then after my halfway hair appointment, I actually didn't finish. So after my hair appointment, I came back to the gym and did some drills outside in the dark. It rained all day, so I could only make it really at the nighttime after the rain. So that's why it's super dark in this video. But overall, it was a great day. I do feel like I compensated for not being able to throw by doing so many drills. So I'm actually very happy with that and still keeping the feeling because I'm still in season. The season has not stopped just because I don't have a facility to throw at. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video tomorrow, which is my birthday, so stay tuned. It's gonna be fun.